Welcome again to these how-to tutorial sessions with me, Virgil, your host. Today we'll be going over how to update a website template. We basically will be covering how to access the existing Now Site website template and how to make use of them. Of course, as always, before the exercise, for the purpose of what we're about to do, I make sure to create business description in line with what basically we will be building this funnel or updating this website for. In this case, it's going to be a Now Site marketing expert website. As you can see, I drafted the first outline of my business profile in keeping with what I teach. I practice the steps of outlining the offer, the description around what exactly I wanted to put forward. Also, the who this would be intended for, and we focus on the how to discover, meaning the way to the opportunity. As you can see in the description, I put forward the links that I would need in the process of considering answering all these questions. I have a revised version here, which is what I will be working with, which is a condensed version of this first draft. And I also picked up a few useful links that I think that I would need. Again, I will share this document, a version of this document in our team section. And so will I share with you the final template that will be created. So we're back in Now Site. Of course, what I did here, I started with the business profile, making sure that I have this Now Site expert marketing AI tool business description anchored. As you can see, I pasted this conversation in, which allowed me for more content suggestions to be generated, and more importantly, the new customer acquisition system, the targeting customer page, and the main product. So in this case, naturally, we would go to build my website and we would have the option of creating from the AI. But in this case, we're going to go all the way down to I want to create it myself. This is going to allow us to access basically the library of templates that we have to offer. And you can scroll up and down this library and pick basically what would be of interest to you. Now, the way I take a look at those is the general presentation and maybe an idea here of what I can see as being the menu. The last template that you'll see is a digital card that I recommend we all learn to use. So once you decide, you click on the asset as I have, and it will basically ask you to put in the information that you want for this asset, for example, for this asset. So same thing here. Keep it very simple for the exercise. Once I enter the basic information, I can click on submit and it will allow me to see the asset. If I decide, I can save it and continue the editing. If not, I can cancel, won't save, and that's it. Now, I had previously already created this card, which I have made available in the Now Site team section. For those who have Now Site, they will be able to go to the team section website template and access these templates that I will be leaving to you. So we're going to go back into the website editor or the website section, click on add new, and again, go for I want to build it myself. So here, when choosing the website, in this case, the template, what I do is pay mind to the structure of what I see, not necessarily the business category. And in this case, we will be updating it. And this also will show you that an established structure can be used for different type of conversation. Okay, so let me see here, back and forth, what I could be using. So, you know what? See. Okay, from the looks and feel of it, I've decided to go with this one here. Welcome to the Gentleman Carpentry, which I will be retasking for our conversation. So here, as mentioned before, I'm going to click on the asset. It's going to populate basically with the conversation that we need. So at that point, I'm just going to choose to enter the information. So boom, in this case, I'm going to call it Plate AI Marketing Expert Tool. Perfect. And done. Perfect. So with that, I'm going to submit. So again, we are back into the website editor, and you can see that we offer a very simple interface. There's two parts to it. So on the left side, you can see here we have the menu, the website builder, with in order the information that we first submitted. So the website name, the URL. Here, there is no business profile picked out since we took it from our library. So the first thing I'm going to do is assign that business conversation here. You can see that we have a page setting, a set of pages that we have here. So we have our about, our services, our work, our contact, confirmation. So these are the labels, the different pages that they have. I can navigate through the different pages by clicking on the digital pencil here. It allows me to see what these different pages are made of. I can click on back and navigate through the services. This gives me a good idea of what they have already in place and how I will be adapting this. I'll see about the contact information. So there's a map, things that can be made of use. And there is a confirmation here, contact you shortly. I like the idea of having a confirmation. As you can see, this is the heading page. We'll make use of that. So I'm going to go back here, and you can see that I'm navigating through the different pages and the different tool set using the menu here. So I can click on back. That will bring me back to the different pages. Right now, I'm on this hidden page here. So I'll go back to the home page, and I can start working. Now, top to bottom, I see that there are some things that I will want to change to adapt to the conversation, starting with the title itself, right? So in this case, for example, I will change this to welcome to now site, sorry, marketing. Boom. So of course, once I have started the update, I am working on the content aspect of this construction block. I can go to style, and I have the different options here to use to start shifting things. For example, just inside, changing colors for the font, for example. So we're going to align at glance with our colors for now. for example. So this is how things are shifted around. So this construction block is on a content section. And on that content section, there's a picture that doesn't necessarily align with what we are doing. So I'm going to click on the content. Oh, sorry. First, going to change and OK to save that we just made. I'm going to click on the content section, so the picture outside the box of the frame, and you can see that the frame, the box, will highlight as I hover over them. These components will react this way, so you know where is it you're about to work. In this case, I am outside these blue box and into the picture frame, and that's highlight the content section. I can click on the content section banner here to make sure that I am actually working on the settings and style of this construction block. In this case, what we're interested in is the style, the picture. So I can click on style. You can see that as it is set, the background section has an image, which is the image that I would like to change. And here, style would allow me to pick between different options that I would have. It could be transparent. It could be a solid color. It could be a gradient, right? Right. Or in this case, like it currently is, an image. To change the image, I can click on Change Image. It will open up our content editor, image editor. I can use the first option here, image AI search or AI image search, to actually produce content based on the description, business description that I put forward. So I can hit the search here. It will give me some suggestions. I can use the orientation to focus on a specific style, whether it's square, portrait, landscape, or in this case, all orientation. And I can use specific instructions if I wanted it to focus on a specific theme or so. So in this case, for example, I can go over my conversation. Now, when picking pictures, my advice is decide on pictures that will reflect either the brand that you're trying to advertise or the audience that you're trying to speak to. Ideally, you want to advertise, I would say both. As much as you want to advertise your brand, you also want to speak to the specific audience. In this case, I'm going to pick this picture here that caught my eye. This person is definitely doing something online, which is what we are all doing. So after clicking on the picture, I'm going to click on Edit, and that should bring basically the picture forward. Allow me to then click on Add to have this picture replaced with what is. Now, there's a little bit of an overlap here in the conversation, which I usually don't necessarily tend to like. The picture is strong, but I want the conversation to also stand out. So what I'm going to do is shift a little bit the conversation upward. I'm going to click on after okaying, of course, I'm going to click on the content block where the conversation is, the welcome. I'm going to go to style. I'm going to go to alignment and spacing, because I can notice that there is a zone here created. So space and alignment, and I can see that here in the margin, I have a few things that I can play with. As you can see, the text alignment, the padding, and the margin. And it seems that in the margin, somebody overdid it. So I'm going to reduce this. And boom, and I can see that this is where this conversation would be. And what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to bring everything down. So I'm going to go back to the content section. Actually, sorry. I'm going to OK this. I'm going to go back to the content section. So click outside the picture. And you can see again in the settings, I have a few things that I can work with. The section block to begin with. So I'm going to drop this to the bottom. So that way I can clearly see the picture, at least a good size of it. And then I have the conversation. Now notice there's a filter, a layer that I can choose to darken a little bit. So I'm going to click on that box, content box, go to Style, Section Background, and you can see here that I have a color. And if I click on it, you can see that the color was used and the opacity of the color was changed to allow for that filter to appear more prominently or not. In this case, I want it to appear more prominently, so I'm going to reinforce that here. Boom. And here, I'll do the same thing for the one below. So Style, Section Background, and I'm going to reinforce this. Now I'm doing this at eyes view, but you could technically make sure to keep these values and make sure that they match across. Or actually, I'm going to simplify myself. When I click on the construction here, I can see that there are two fields, heading and subheading. I could actually make use of both. So I'm just going to cut out the welcome, switch it to an outside marketing, go to Style, Heading, reduce it to 60 from 73 where it was. I'm going to OK this. I'm going to go back to the second block, which is just a paragraph and no title. And I'm going to copy that information and bring it back on top where there is none. And of course, we'll get rid of what is already there. Now notice this is appearing quite large because in the previous values of these fields, we had 55, which we're going to bring down to a healthy 17, which is in line with what was already there. And I can now get rid of this extra block by highlighting it and using the personal menu assigned to the block and erasing it. So now you see, I've created a much stronger landing for my conversation. I'm going to save what I've done so far. Of course, none of the footer information here belongs to me, so I'm going to click on that footer. And we're going to get rid of this gentleman information as well as the email and telephone number. Of course, at this point, I want to start replacing that information with my contact information, right? So in this case, or rather in this case, we would put it for, since it is now site marketing asset, we would put it for our support email. So, all right, support. Right. That's, sorry for the typos there. And so here, of course, these are generic links to social media page that would need to be updated. We will come back to that. For now, I'm going to save. And we're going to set up some color codes here. Make sure that we are in line with our color codes. So boom, I'm going to click here. And again, same process. I'm going to go to Style. I'm going to go to Section Background where they have the black. I'll leave it. The heading here, I want to start introducing our now site color. I'm going to lead in with our leading magenta color. Boom, here. And I will do the same thing here. Background, change this here. To make it more interesting visually, we're going to switch from black to white. And Also, we're going to switch the call to action to join us. I'm going to go back here, change this as well. So, getting made easy. Perfect. And you know what? I am gonna switch this back to what so that it stands out. Perfect. So you can see already we are well in line getting what we are looking for in terms of presentation. What we're going to start doing is bringing in a little bit of personalization. I'm going to click here on the logo. I'm going to go to the upgrade, to the upload, sorry, and I'm going to upload from my library. I'm pretty sure I have, or maybe not, I have done some cleanup recently. I'm going to bring in this picture and it will allow me to take what I need from it. So I use the crop tool as you see to be able to generate a logo here or take the logo out of the picture that I need so I can produce my brand, right? Same thing could be done here, for example, very simply. This same picture. I could crop out the details that I would want to keep, and here we go. So already we're looking pretty good. At least I like. I hope you do. So few updates we're going to go back and do. So here I'm going to go back into the website editor where I have the information and I have my business name here that I want to update. And the website setting here that we're going to update as well. Paste. And now you see the description is missing, and this is where we're going to start using our business profile to start going over our conversation. As you can see, even the conversation in place here is asking us to make sure that we update this information. So here, I'm going to click on AI because we have anchored our business description. So we're just going to have the AI write a description about our website. So I want to be keep it friendly, professional, persuasive, excited, and why not formal. And about for my business. Yep, so we'll keep it as such and generate. The AI will generate a nice business conversation that we will be able to use. So right here. So it is more than I need. So for now, I'll just focus on the top part. Why not? And here, I'm just going to place this where it needs to be. Paste. And here, the social image. I want to update something nice. So we're going to use this one here. Go. Why not? So I'm going to save. And we're now going to go into deeper works into the different sections in the about us, our service, our works, contact us, the confirmation. We will make use of that. For example, here, our service plan, since we offer different service plan with the now site. So our plans, our AI plans, I should say, our AI plans, right? So here, our support. So already you can see that part of the values, the facets, the service that I want to put forward are already being outlined, sorry. in the menu, right? So contacts and booking confirmation. And we are in the industry of offering coaching, right, and onboarding. So why not give a chance to people to meet with us through this exercise? So you can see here that I already started updating the menu just by clicking and changing the different, in this case, what we're going to do, digital card. That should give you an idea of what is to come into this section. So as you can, I'm already deciding where this conversation will go in the next pages. So I'm going to save this firsthand just to make sure that this is something that I'm going to keep, and we will continue with the section updates with the about next. Of course, this should already give you a good idea of what we're about to do here, updating certain sections. Here, I no longer require this piece. I'm just going to remove it from the presentation completely. As you can see, I just removed the pieces that I want. Same thing with this conversation, I will come back. So as you can see, I'm removing the pieces that I don't need. And I'm going to come back and add something that I want very simply. Here, for example, this is the about us. So I'm just going to remove one of these blocks. So I'm going to get rid of one of these blocks. And here, I'm going to click on the construction block, automatically activating the settings, content, and style that I can work with. I'm going to go to the edit. And of course, as you guessed, I'm going to need the AI to write an about text for my app. And just as we understand the AI will do, I can actually take part of the conversation here that was already offered in the previous step at creating the business description. I can actually already use that as a complete form of what I would want this section to present. And as you can see, it is in place. For it to be readable, I'm just going to switch the block arrangement. Now, the content section, as you can see, allows you to change the arrangement of the content as it is displayed. So we're referring to the first construction block, and this is when we're going to start looking at what these different construction blocks can do. You can access them anytime from the main website builder by clicking on the digital pencil on the page that you're about to work on. The content section is the first construction block offered, and it's a click and drag environment. As you can see, clicking, dragging, and dropping the tool or the content section or the construction block where I want. Now, the blue line here are showing me where this content section will end up. And you can see that just like the one on the picture, there's a big plus sign here. This plus sign is the placeholders for the different construction blocks that will follow for us to end up with these type of presentation. And you can see that the banner has already a few diagrams that I can use to decide on how the content will appear or will be arranged. So you can see each time I click on one of the diagrams, the content section adapts for that goal. I'm going to get rid of this one, and I'm going to go back to the about section. I'm going to click outside the content section since that diagram is pertaining, or this arrangement is pertaining to the options tied to the content section. And I'm going to choose to make it either one, full text, which is not bad, or should I want to add more content next to it, I can give it more weight on one side than the other. Perfect. So I'm going to save this. And of course, I'm going to bring back our colors. Now, it's a lot more efficient if you have a pad. I recommend you start keeping a pad active so you can keep in mind things of interest, things that will repeatedly come back to be used, such as links, color codes, and such. So as we were discussing, I actually opened the pad so that I would need to come back again, fetch this color. I could just move along with the process on this point, one page to the other. So boom. Here, I'm going to change the title, License Insurance, which we are no longer doing, but we are marketing. Next. And we will make sure to match the color. Now, this is a quick update. I will most likely come back and give it more attention. For now, I'm just going to move on this picture and make sure that we now are in the realm of marketing. And again, I'm just going to simply go back to my library for now and just grab a picture that falls in line with my conversation. And as you can see, simplicity is also a strong suit of exit. Save and exit. For now, rather, too early to exit. Since we have done some work on the About Us in the home, I want to take a look right away at what it looks like on the mobile version, so I can gauge what I'm doing. And again, the navigator or the website editor will function the same for the mobile interface as it does for the website interface. And you must have noticed that we have a problem here, the conversation that needs to be readjusted. Since the mobile interface is something that you always want to take a second look on, keeping in mind that the font resizing won't follow as you just noticed. So you definitely want to come into this page and take a look at what has been put in terms of font size and also any other spacing that wouldn't be maybe required or that should be added here. So what we're going to do here, I want the picture to be visible, and obviously this is the problem and has to do with the padding, so I'm just going to add a little bit of padding. I'm going to try reducing the size here of this conversation as well. I'm going to keep it at 10 here and here. We're going to drop it down to, oops. So here you go. There you go. So a simple welcome page. Probably going to give it a little bit more strength. so that there's a more stronger call to action at landing. I'm gonna go back and take a look at the About Us here. Probably will give it a little bit more here. I'm going to click on the content section, height, default, minimum height, just to give this scene a little bit more presence here. So I'm going to use the minimum height to increase the value here. I'm going to go back as well and come to think of it, do the same thing here with certain reserve, of course. There you go. I'm gonna go back to the desktop version. I'm gonna take a look at the About Us again. And here I want to start working on the presentation as well. I'm gonna add basically, I'm gonna use this, split it into, so that I can just actually split it into again. So as you notice, what I'm doing is keeping a section of this conversation and removing others, so that I can transform this into blocks. For the purpose of adding some complementary image on the side, so that the conversation would be less dry. As you can see, I just reduced the space between the picture and the block. And what we will do is repeat the process here as well. Of course, a different picture. Sorry. I'm using the section block spacing to decide what is the space between these, just in case I didn't mention this. So now you see I have a little bit more of an interest being created here. And the reason why this would be important is that in the end, I want to be able to add some call to actions in the middle, right? Something discrete. Learn more, for example. And this could anchor down to our actual conversion link. Of course, keeping in line with the presentation, I would make sure that my button respects or follows in the color conversation. So as you can see, very quickly, we can start updating this content here to our liking. Now, we can do other things here. For example, just gonna go back to transparent. And what we will do is start looking at bringing content from actual analysis. I rather this color is clean. We will continue in the next part two of this tutorial on bringing content for plants. For example, at this point, we will most likely be going through this process pretty fast. As you can see, what is before us, we're going to think about content for this banner. We're going to think about content for different nav services, which most likely, or different tools, which most likely will end up being something that is straightforward. For that, most likely, we're going to default to creating some content on Canva. Why not? As you can see, there are a few things that I am already thinking about using based on the previous tutorials and workshop that we have. Pretty sure that you will understand the steps to follow within Canva, or you will make a more elaborated presentation for that. So we will see you for part two of the tutorial, and hopefully applying this first part has not been so much of a drag. Thank you very much, and we will see you soon.